Hemos cambiado un poco el programa. Oh, I speak in English, I'm sorry. We have changed a little bit the follow-up of the speakers, but it's not everybody has the program, so it's now Natalia, and then after that it will be Gaston. And Natalia is not speaking English, she tells me. She understands, but she doesn't speak it very well. So she will do her speech in English, and we luckily, I don't have to translate it. I could, but I think I couldn't do it as well as Gaston Cornu, who is really living, he's Argentina, and he's living in the States sometimes. I don't know when exactly, but so he will translate instantly, he will translate what she's saying. So I'll give him a microphone too. It's going to be a little bit, different than normal. Very original. There you go.
Okay. Thank you very much. Well, I'm Natalia Prego Cancelo, a medical doctor, general practice.
Good.
Okay. En mi país, España, I'm from Spain. En mi país, España, los centros de salud están cerrados. Los ancianos aislados y los niños atemorizados.
Okay, I cannot make her voice, but I will translate. In her country, Spain, in our country, the health centers are closed. The old people are isolated. And the children are unattended.
El otro día en la televisión una niña decía que tener la máscara, con la máscara no podía respirar bien, pero era mejor que morirse.
Recently, a little girl said that wearing the mask, she cannot breathe well, but not breathing well is better than dying.
¿Quién ha introducido la idea de la muerte en sus pequeñas cabezas?
Who has introduced the idea of death into their little heads?
¿Quién se va a hacer cargo de los problemas que en el futuro estos niños tendrán en el proceso de aprendizaje y en su salud física y mental por estar durante todo el día con la cara tapada?
Who will face the consequences? Who will take charge of the consequences of the impact this is going to have on the long run, on their fear they're growing up with, on the impacts at the social and psychological level that wearing a mask and having their face covered will have?
¿Quién? Who?
Who?
¿Sus padres? Their fathers? Esos padres que con una disciplina ciega piensan que están salvando la vida de sus hijos de un virus asesino que está en el agua, se filtra por los ventiladores y que salta de persona en persona como si fuera un mosquito?
Those parents that wholeheartedly believe that they're protecting their children from this mortal virus that shows up in the water, that shows up in the air, that jumps from people to people to people like a mosquito.
Un virus que ha matado 29.000 personas en España sin saber que realmente han fallecido por la gestión y medidas sanitarias incorrectas por parte del gobierno.
A virus that has killed 29,000 people in Spain, but without really knowing that the deaths have been from poor management at a healthcare level by the authorities that regulate healthcare in Spain.
¿Quién se va a hacer cargo de estos niños?
Who is going to be in charge of these? Who's going to be responsible for these children?
¿The teachers? Esos profesores que cada día lavan las manos a sus alumnos con gel hidroalcohólico, destruyendo poco a poco la flora saprófita de su epidermis por el 70% de alcohol que contienen esos limpiadores y desinfectantes.
These teachers that on a daily basis make their kids, their students wash their hands with 70% alcohol and systematically are destroying their flora in the skin.
¿Quién? Who? En las residencias los ancianos ya están diciendo que para vivir así es mejor morir.
In the sorry, the word. Yeah, old people residencies, nursing homes, thank you. In the nursing homes, old people are saying now, to live like this, it is better to die.
La amenaza de un reconfinamiento en base a la existencia de falsos enfermos aplaca la voluntad de las personas de pensar libremente y cuestionar la incoherencia visible de forma diaria.
The threat of another confinement coming up based on false cases that are showing up is it's putting people down, it's flattening them out and flattening their will to keep going and to question.
En la televisión se suceden constantemente imágenes y mensajes a los adolescentes, con ataúdes y personas entubadas en coma diciendo que los nichos de los cementerios están vacíos, que con su actitud no los llenen.
The media is continuously bombarding youth with images of people intubated in ICUs and coffins and messages such as the cemeteries have a lot of empty slots. Don't fill them up with your attitude.
Cualquiera que haya paseado por las calles de mi país, España, habrá podido ver carteles en los cuales se hacía la siguiente pregunta. Este verano, ¿dónde quieres tumbarte? Y se veía a la izquierda la imagen de una toalla para tumbarse en la playa y a la derecha la imagen de una cama vacía para tumbarse en un hospital.
Walking around in Spain, you see signs that are showing the following message. Where do you want to lay down? And on the left, de nuevo a la izquierda.
A la izquierda la toalla para tumbarse en la playa y a la derecha una cama vacía para tumbarse en un hospital.
So on the left, there's a towel at the beach. And on the right, there is an empty hospital bed. Where do you want to lay down?
Y yo me pregunto, ¿hasta qué punto quieren llegar?
Now, I question, to what point, how far do they want to reach?
¿Dónde está el límite de la propagación del terror?
Where is the limit to the propagation, to the propaganda of terror?
¿Dónde? Where? No lo sé, I don't know. Por eso estamos aquí, para decir stop. Basta ya.
I don't know where the limit is, but this is the reason why we're here, to say stop, to say enough.
No todo vale.
Not everything goes.
Sabemos lo que estáis haciendo y no lo vamos a consentir.
We know what you're doing, and we will not accept it.
Vamos a devolver el poder que habéis quitado a cada una de las personas que cada día ve vuestras noticias y se alarma con vuestros mensajes.
We will return the power to the people that was taken, to those people that every day get alarmed and scared with your lies and your messages.
Somos médicos y velamos por la salud de todos. Somos juristas y velamos por la justicia para todos.
We are doctors and we look after health for everybody. We are attorneys and we look after justice for everybody.
Desde aquí decimos a todas las personas que sufren, no estáis solos.
From here, we say to everybody that's suffering, you're not alone.
Nosotros ayudaremos y vosotros nos ayudaréis a poder hacerlo.
We will help you, and you will help us to be able to do it.
A poder liberar del miedo, de la angustia y de la desesperación a todos los que se sienten atados y anclados a una vida llena de muerte.
To be able to overcome desperation and fear, to all those that feel anchored to a life of death.
Basta ya. Stop. No vamos a generar más enfermedades. Vamos a generar alegría.
We will not generate any more disease. We are going to generate happiness.
No. No vamos a generar más miedo. Vamos a generar confianza.
We will not generate any more fear. We will generate confidence, trust.
Y no vamos a generar más inseguridad. Vamos a generar fortaleza.
And we will not generate any more insecurity. We will bring forward fortitude.
Fortaleza, fuerza y capacitación para luchar por nuestra vida y por nuestros derechos.
Fortitude, strength, and information, power to be able to fight for our rights.
Y recuperar la dignidad que en algún momento hemos perdido por el camino.
And recover our dignity that at some point in this road we have lost.
Thank you.
Is this working? Yeah, a little bit, isn't it? Thank you so much. It was beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you, Elke.
Yeah. Great. I want to say something to everybody here. Maybe I can just use this one because this is not working. I met Natalia yesterday. I was in contact via mail, but we didn't talk yet because she didn't know I was speaking Spanish too. But she told me yesterday, she explained to me what she's doing in Spain. So I have organized this meeting. It's an international meeting, of course, in like 2 weeks and a half, something like that. Yeah. No, that was not the point. Don't. No, I want her to be applauded for, because she told me that what she's doing in Spain is she is in a car with her husband, Tony. Tony Conejo. They are a team. And she's in the car in Madrid. And then they say, well, where shall we go today or tomorrow? Where shall we have a conference, a flash conference? Well, in 5 hours, we can be in Murcia. Let's call Murcia, get a congress room like this in a hotel, put a video, YouTube video on. She puts a YouTube video on her channel. She announces, we're coming to Murcia now. Conference in 5 hours. Full hotels with people in 5 hours. She has 1 million followers, so I think she's going to boost this thing here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So this is crazy. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
There can be questions now.
¿Qué dijo?
¿Cuál es tu canal de YouTube?
Doctora Natalia Prego Cancelo. DRA. Ok. Tengo que decir, thank you so much, tengo que decir que a nivel, allá en España, hicimos Médicos por la Verdad. Yo empecé desde el principio y después con Ángel, un compañero, y cofundamos Médicos por la Verdad.
Give me a break, okay?
Excuse me.
Don't make it too long, otherwise it's like half of it gets lost in translation. She started the movement Doctors for the Truth in Spain, together with Ángel Ruiz, one of our colleagues, and
Okay, hicimos Médicos por la Verdad. Después lo digo para quien no lo sepa, se ha extendido, hicimos colaboración con Heiko Schöning, con el doctor Heiko Schöning, en nuestra primera conferencia de presentación.
This was started in collaboration with Heiko Schöning, Dr. Schöning here, and participated in the first conference.
Para nosotros esa primera conferencia fue muy importante porque la hicimos en el centro de Madrid y el refuerzo y el sostén del doctor Heiko Schöning fue muy valioso para España.
So that conference took place in the center of Madrid and was a very important event for the movement, and Heiko's support was fundamental in this.
Es importante porque la unión hace la fuerza y nos reforzamos y nos fortalecemos entre todos.
It is important because union makes strength, and
Yes.
all together we reinforce each other and we empower each other.
Yes. Doctors for the Truth, Médicos por la Verdad, se extendió a Sudamérica, a Latinoamérica, más bien Sudamérica, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay y Chile. En estos momentos son los que están constituidos de forma evidente, quiero decir, más clara.
So, little translation is the movement Doctors for the Truth has extended mainly to Latin American countries, and at least the ones she mentioned have been officially constituted. The movement extends.
El otro día, por ejemplo, por poner un ejemplo, me llamaron de Chile para una entrevista y yo actualmente estoy dando solo conferencias. Las entrevistas las está dando compañeros míos porque nos vamos repartiendo el trabajo. Pero me pidieron que en Chile diera una conferencia para animar a los médicos de Chile. Y yo estaba muy cansada, pero la di. A raíz de esa fuerza y de esa unión, pues ya salió y se creó Médicos por la Verdad Chile.
So recently she's been contacted to give an interview from Chile, from a media in Chile, in relation to Doctors for the Truth, and she usually does not give interviews. That others in the group give interviews, and they spread out the workload. But they really insisted, and she was, despite being very tired, accepted. And indeed, after that interview, Doctors for the Truth Chile got constituted.
Espero que aquí también salga Doctors for the Truth Bélgica.
I hope we get out.
Y Holanda, Países Bajos, ya están.
Just a short question. I was surprised about your YouTube channel because in Belgium we have a lot of censorship, and so you are allowed to broadcast your message on YouTube because that's a thing we find very difficult to spread the message.
Dime.
She's asked, ella te pregunta si cómo es posible que el YouTube canal te deja a ti hacer todo eso sin censurarte. ¿Qué pasa, Tony?
No, bueno, estuvo 2 días, nada más, no. Realmente es muy poco, solo me han cortado 2 vídeos, creo, 1 o 2, muy poquito, y he estado 2 días sin el canal.
Actually, there's been censorship, but there's been just a couple of videos that have been taken out. And as a reprimand for putting, inappropriate content, she's been, the channel has been taken down for a couple of days. It was 7 days, and then it was...
pidieron o solicitaron, recurrieron.
Appealed to YouTube, and then it was 2 days instead of 7.
Okay. El 15 de marzo hice mi primer audio y 2 días después el colegio médico ya me amenazó con abrirme un expediente. Hasta el día de hoy no se abrió, pero bueno, en aquellas épocas, en aquellos días sí que yo tenía miedo, incluso, bueno, por mí, por mi vida y por mi carrera. Quiero decir, tenía un miedo porque estaba yo sola, ¿no?
So on March 15, when she spoke out for the first time, a couple of days later, the medical college, that she belongs to, started with threats to cancel her license. And at that time, she was afraid, and she was worried, and... Yeah, the threat didn't go any further than a threat.
Ya, bueno. Durante todo este tiempo he intentado argumentar médicamente y científicamente mis opiniones y mis declaraciones.
She's been making a systematic effort to argue scientifically her opinions.
Okay. Y decir que esta es la temática, ¿no?, que intentamos hacer. Decir que Médicos por la Verdad no es una asociación legal, simplemente que es un movimiento de personas, ¿no? El día 29, cuando ellos hicieron la manifestación en Berlín, yo fui a Lisboa para hacer una conferencia en apoyo a la creación y la presentación de Médicos por la Verdad Portugal.
I have one very important question. Kun je dat weer teruggeven aan haar? One very important question. Maybe you can translate. I'll give this back to you. Especially for the camera. Every doctor who sees this, doctors present, and I want to ask you again, because you experienced this, how does it feel as a doctor to be threatened because you tell the truth? And how would you advise other doctors in the future who will receive letters from the inspection, letters from their colleagues, everything? How do you advise them to respond to the threat and to the intimidation that you have experienced, because you know how it feels? And please inform us and the people, the doctors at home, how to react when that letter comes, because it is danger and it is fear at the same time being put upon you.
Entendí un poco, pero dime, sí. Sí. Ajá. Vale. En todos los códigos deontológicos médicos tenemos un artículo, tienen que ver el código deontológico del colegio médico al que pertenecen, o del país, o de tal, porque hay o de la provincia, nosotros es la provincia, hay siempre un artículo en donde se permite la libertad de elección de tratamiento y método por parte de los médicos. Nosotros tenemos libertad.
Every medical code from every college or nucleation of doctors has an article that relates to the freedom of opinion about treatments and medical opinion that each doctor has. And this has to be looked up and kept very present.
Okay. También siempre he argumentado mis ideas, mis opiniones en documentación oficial, Porque hay muchos estudios científicos, son definitivos, la mayor parte de los que hablan que hay efectos secundarios de las mascarillas, que el confinamiento no es aceptado ni conveniente, pero siempre me he referido a documentación oficial.
Also, every time she speaks up, she has always used published, available documentation.
Esta documentación oficial casi siempre basada en la Organización Mundial de la Salud.
Actually, most of the times based on the World Health Organization.
Porque, aunque son una documentación muy ambigua, muy compleja, en donde te dice una cosa y la contraria, al final siempre hay la frase que determina y que argumenta todo lo que nosotros estamos luchando.
This is despite the fact that this documentation tends to be very ambiguous, very complex, and very, contradictory and retorcida is the word, twisted. Yet, if you look in depth, you will find the line that will clearly state what you can say.
La Organización Mundial de la Salud dice que no existe evidencia científica que avale y que argumente que las mascarillas protegen contra el virus.
The World Health Organization actually states that there is no scientific evidence to support the idea that the face masks protect against the virus.
La Organización Mundial de la Salud dice que las mascarillas provocan autocontaminación, o sea, infecciones propias que con la manipulación pueden provocarse en las personas, igual que otros efectos adversos.
The World Health Organization states that masks worn over time can promote self-infection and the breathing back of pathogens that can lead to airway and pulmonary infections.
La Organización Mundial de la Salud dice que no existen estudios exhaustivos que confirmen que los asintomáticos contagian.
The World Health Organization states that there are no conclusive studies that can show that asymptomatic patients can transmit the virus.
La Organización Mundial de la Salud nunca recomendó obligatoriamente ni como recomendación clara los confinamientos de la población sana de forma generalizada.
The World Health Organization never officially recommended nor suggested the confinement of worldwide of all the population as a mean of addressing this crisis.
El protocolo del 10 de febrero del 2020 de la Organización Mundial de la Salud, que hablaba de cómo tratar los primeros casos de infección por SARS-CoV-2, decía que había que hacer detección por personas con el test PCR, o sea, un screening poblacional, evidentemente. Traduce eso. Sí.
Okay.
Screening poblacional.
The document from for management of this crisis from February of 2020 from the World Health Organization stated that there was need to do screening with PCR testing of the population.
Ese screening poblacional era con test de detección PCRs, que no son específicos, pero que era una alternativa al confinamiento de toda la población sana, y por eso yo defendí ese protocolo.
In February, the proposal from the WHO was to do screening instead of confinement of all the population, even though the PCR is not the best test.
Nunca dijo que había que meter en sus casas a toda la población sana, documentalmente. Otra cosa es lo que digo.
It was never stated in writing. There is no document that that shows that the World Health Organization recommended the confinement of all the people in the world.
El Reglamento Sanitario Internacional es un reglamento que ha sido firmado por más de 100 países en todo el mundo, entre ellos España y la mayor parte de los países europeos.
Which document?
Reglamento Sanitario Internacional.
The health document, statements, the World Medical Association, are you referring to? No.
De la ONU, creo que es de la ONU, ¿no?
Signed by about 100 to 180 countries in the world.
Ok. Ese reglamento sanitario internacional se elaboró más o menos por el 2007-2008 para orientar la acción de los países en contextos de pandemia y epidemias.
This document was crafted somewhere in 2000 and signed 2007, 2008 as a spine to guide countries in the management of pandemics. 7 or 8. 17 o 10. No, yeah. 2007.
2007, sí. Al menos en España se firmó. En su artículo 43.2 dice que los países que lo han firmado tienen que seguir las recomendaciones de la OMS en contextos y en casos de epidemia y pandemia.
So, article
43.2.
43.2 states that the signing countries must follow the recommendations from the World Health Organization in relation to epidemics and pandemics.
Y en su artículo 18 del propio reglamento dice que en contextos de epidemia y pandemia solo se hará aislamiento selectivo de los enfermos y contactos sospechosos en plena pandemia.
In that same document, Article 18 states that in the case of epidemics, isolation of only affected people and their contacts will be done.
Ahora no existen los datos de marzo ni de abril en ningún país de Europa en relación a la epidemia por la infección vírica.
Now there is no documentation of cases March, April, marzo y abril.
Marzo y abril sí, no existen.
In any of the European countries.
Claro, se hace.
I mean, neither.
¿Cómo? Quiero decir que ahora se están haciendo los test PCR sin tener que hacerlos, porque no hay que tener screening poblacional. Se están haciendo unos test y se está confinando sin realmente bases reales de un contexto de epidemia.
So,
o sea, es diferente a marzo.
Marzo, abril no se hizo nada.
No se hicieron el screening poblacional.
Okay,
no
so now I get it. March and April there were no screening tests done, and everybody was locked in. Now, massive screenings are being done in preparation for la intención de.
Ahora se están haciendo los tests y no son necesarios porque no hay enfermos.
Now there are no diseased people anymore, and there is no indication, no reason to do screening.
Y la Organización Mundial de la Salud dice que los test PCR no indican infecciosidad del virus. Por tanto, reconoce que esos test no son para determinar infecciones.
World Health Organization recognizes that those tests do not indicate infection, so they are not useful.
Okay. I just thank you again. Sí, muy bien.
Thank you.
Ja, tuurlijk. Thank you for everything. But I was just wondering, what kind of document were you talking about exactly? I thought you were talking about the international health regulations, the document you said that many countries signed upon 34 point. What kind of document are we talking about? I think it's that one. Okay, because more than 100 people signed on. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, countries.
Yeah, exactly.
Dice que...
Okay, great. 180. Okay, now then I understand. That's the international health regulations. In Holland, it's put into the Wet Publieke Gezondheid. That's okay. I understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
I had. So this was a beautiful answer to my question, but the question still was, how did you feel? So you gave us the intellectual part, and maybe the sentient part would be short, because we want people will be afraid when they receive letters and threats like that. Thank you for your intellectual answer, but now how did you feel?
¿Lo has entendido o no? Pues entonces él te ha preguntado cómo te sientas cuando recibes una carta así del orden de los médicos, pero cómo te sientas. Y tú le has dicho, el código de deontología, tienes que verlo, lo tenemos, estamos libres. Pero ¿cómo te sientas?
Bueno, cuando yo hice el audio y cuando en España se hizo el confinamiento y el estado de alarma, en ese mismo momento ya identifiqué que era un punto de inflexión en mi vida y que el momento realmente requería ofrecer mi profesión y ofrecer también mi vida incluso.
So at that point, when she received the letter and she saw the whole situation at the beginning, she realized it was an inflection point in her life and that she needed to redefine her path.
And that she might have to offer her job and her career and her life to dedicate it to doing what she has to do. Because this is not work. Yeah.
Now, can I take the
Yes.
I've used my translation situation because I can answer that question because I'm having a presence right now with this crisis, but I've been doing this. I've been doing this for a few years, and in the U.S. as a medical doctor, I went through this about 10 years ago as a whistleblower. If you know this term, the one that speaks out when there is a problem, right, and blows the whistle. And I went through the whole process with questioning of my license in the U.S. and my experience, number one, it feels horrible because you feel like your whole world is coming to an end, right? Because we're so attached to what we do. But on the other hand, if we take a deep breath and if we look in depth into what's happening, then we realize it's all smoke and it's all unreal and it's all just a plain abuse of power. So there is no real threat. There is the perception of threat. That perception does move us, but it's not real.
Thank you. Yes.
As far as I understand, there is no scientific proof for an isolated virus. Maybe you can comment on that?
Lo que está diciendo es que lo que ella entiende es que no hay aislamiento del virus, no hay prueba del virus real.
Bueno, no existe purificación realmente del virus, pero la secuencia, están saliendo estudios de que sí que puede haber. Yo quiero decir, la secuenciación completa, a nivel completo, puede no existir, pero en todo caso ya han salido quiero decir, desde que nuestra compañera lo dijo en la conferencia, ha salido muchos artículos y muchos estudios de que realmente sí existe la secuenciación completa, pero la purificación no existe.
So indeed, there is no evidence of the purification of the actual virus. There is plenty of evidence that's coming up, and since it was brought up initially, more evidence is coming up of the sequence, the RNA or the genetic sequence of the virus. And this is what Natalia said to this, just to add, los principios del Koch.
Sí.
The actual proof of a pathogen comes from a series of tests of a process that's called the principles of Koch, where you actually demonstrate that this agent that's being isolated, once you isolate it, it is the cause of disease. This has not been proven.
Lo que sí sé es que ese virus en concreto, mismo que estuviera totalmente purificado, no es el que está matando a las personas y no es el que está realmente provocando el agravamiento de esas personas que han empeorado en su enfermedad y que fallecieron. No es solo el virus, aunque para mí lo importante no es la existencia o no del virus, es la existencia de la enfermedad y la existencia de las muertes.
What she knows is that this virus is not the cause or the only cause or the reason for the syndrome, the disease that actually is being observed. And in any event, for her, the important thing is the actual disease that's happening and that it's affecting people.
Una enfermedad que tiene alteraciones pulmonares y alteraciones sanguíneas y las personas se mueren por coagulación intravascular diseminada, que es un problema embólico sanguíneo.
This disease is a pulmonary disease and intravascular disseminated coagulopathy, and people are dying from the coagulopathy.
Is that a good answer to your question? But I have somebody there. You wait.
You wait.
Thank you. I'd like to take the opportunity, now that we have so many doctors here present, to ask a question that is more scientific in terms of what is the virus that we are actually dealing with. And I'd like to have not maybe a complete answer, but some direction to look further into the relationship between the idea of a virus and the ability of the human body, the human cell, to expel garbage from the cell in packages that we call exosomes. And exosomes under the microscope happen to look exactly the same as we are presented with the coronavirus. They are activating the immune system further. Why? Because the body wants to expel the garbage that it has collected, either due to radiation, to poisoning, or to other unknown factors. So I really would like to know if we are not confused about exosomes and viruses. Thank you.
La pregunta es, entendiendo el concepto del exosoma, como la forma de cuerpo eliminar, que el exosoma se ve exactamente igual que las imágenes del virus. No estamos confundidos. Estamos lidiando con exosomas de toxicidad por radiación, etcétera.
Es que para mí es que el virus en sí mismo no es para mí, en mi opinión, no es importante que sea un patógeno de unas características u otras, que se libere por el organismo, que sea exosoma o no. Para mí lo importante es que hay muchos factores que están siendo importantes a la hora de desarrollar la enfermedad, como la contaminación electromagnética, como muchas otras situaciones. Las vacunas de la gripe, por ejemplo, las de los años anteriores, que en muchos casos agravaron la situación. Por tanto, creo que hay muchos factores a considerar.
She doesn't consider that question as a core understanding, maybe as a core issue. The core issue is a ver, el punto central tuyo es
que para mí no es relevante, no es lo más importante de dónde vienen los virus o lo más importante es la enfermedad que está agravada.
So, in essence, where it's coming from, if it is a virus, if it is an exosome, is not the key question. The key question is the disease and what is aggravating, such as the vaccines, for the flu vaccines, radiation, and many other elements that are causing disease.
Contaminación electromagnética, la vacuna de la gripe, por ejemplo.
Ya lo mencioné. Yep.
And if I may comment, so I'm totally aware that a lot of other people who are not medical doctors are very interested in all these facts because it's fancy, it's all in the mass media. But I can tell you again, these are not the core questions. So don't be led to other ways, not the questions virus or exosomes. This is a subject for scientific, yeah. So again, ask yourself, do we have a killer virus? No, we do not have. So do we have a panic? Yes, we have. Who has got the power to create this? Yeah, and who has got benefiting on this? So we need to concentrate on these questions.
Thank you. So there was something I wanted to ask the doctors, because we are all focusing on COVID-19 now, but I understood there's also COVID-18, COVID-17. There will also be a COVID-20, I think. So we shouldn't worry about this. But I think we should worry a little bit about COVID-20, because we have compromised people's immune system by forcing them in a lockdown, getting them depressed, getting them lose their jobs. So I am a little bit afraid of COVID-20, not of the virus, but because of the immune system of people which have been compromised. So shouldn't we really work hard to get people's immune system up to par? What do you think?
I'm going to ask.
Claro. Es que los factores fueron contaminación electromagnética, vacuna de la gripe, pero después un confinamiento y una destrucción cada vez más paulatina del sistema inmunitario y una destrucción del tejido económico del país. La pobreza genera enfermedad.
So yes, indeed, electromagnetic contamination, flu vaccines, and confinement have destroyed the health of the people, in their immune system, and their economy. And poverty generates disease.
And yeah, do you think, ¿tú piensas que necesitamos fortalecer la inmunidad? ¿Y cómo vamos a hacerlo?
Pues yo siempre digo, volviendo a nuestra vida y potenciando los factores todos que necesitamos para aumentar nuestro sistema inmune. Antes lo hacíamos de forma más inconsciente, alguna gente sí, otra no, pero ahora tendríamos que hacerlo de forma consciente y con mucho más fuerza, ¿no?
So in answering to how do we address this is going back to our lives. And going back to our lives and reinforcing all the elements that we used to use unconsciously, maybe, or use purposefully to reinforce our immune system, that should be brought forward and stressed for everybody to follow.
Lo que siempre se hizo, haciendo deporte, alimentación saludable, complejos vitamínicos.
Good nutrition. Vitamins.
Yeah. I would like to add to that we need also psychologically, we need to recover, because this has been very traumatic. So we are in a post-traumatic stress syndrome all over the world. So we have to help each other and unite a lot. Humanity has to unite to make this possible. And so I would like to say also that this civil war that is pending upon us by the virus and the false narratives, we can say, that's the danger now. So we have to have a lot of respect for those that don't believe us now and stay in contact. That's very important. And not blame them. Yeah.
Todas las medidas sociales y terapéuticas que se han aplicado están destruyendo el sistema inmunitario. Todas desde el inicio de la pandemia.
Yes. So she says that all that has been done, the rules and all the measures have been destroying our unity. Okay. That has been targeted. And the immune system, but it's all together.
So basically what happened is, like in psychology, we've been thrown into a big depression, which is a vicious cycle, because it all goes down. So this cycle goes down. So what we need to do is stop it and go into a virtuous cycle. So getting open to the world again, building our immune system. But first we have to say no to all the measures that destroy the world, actually, destroy us as people. So that's what we need to do.
Yes. I think that's beautiful to conclude. Thank you very much, Michaela. You want to say something? Yes.
I have one question to all present doctors. And also for people that are not here and that are watching us while we deliberate, because that is what we are doing here. We are deliberating. So we are freeing ourselves from this smoke, as you call it. Our minds have been clouded in fog. Good old 19th century London fog, where Sherlock Holmes would run around to unravel the mysteries. But I have one serious question to all doctors, because I am not a learned man, but I would read books about this magical thing in the middle of my head called the epiphyse, the pineal gland. And I hear this is essential for a very strong immune system, that the pineal gland is like the microchip that nature already put inside of our heads. And it appears that this pineal gland has been under attack for several thousands of years, maybe even, but that is crucial. And maybe the doctors of the world can tell me why this imperative for a good immune system, the pineal gland, is not part of this discussion right now. Not here today, but in the world. Maybe our American and our Spanish friends can tell me.
Ok, yo siempre he tenido, eso está bien, pero siempre he tenido un proceso y una estrategia de contraposición basándonos en puntos muy básicos y que todos podemos estar de acuerdo. Porque si avanzamos a aspectos un poco más complejos, pues es más fácil confrontar eso, ¿no? Para que toda la población
she's always been trying to keep the discussion or the exchange at a very basic level, holding back from entering into higher levels of complexity in the discussion, so that we can build a base of understanding from which to build a higher level of complexity in understanding the human experience.
Yes.
¿Algo más quieres agregar a eso?
¿Cómo? ¿Qué poco?
¿Algo más quieres agregar?
No, que poco a poco, que es así, que es verdad, pero que...
She knows what you know, and but it's better now to build a basis. But it's a very good question. I think many doctors that are here know what it is about.
The essential question that I then have is, can you, to a general public, tell them what they can do, maybe to stimulate the working of their immune system by relaxing their brains a little? Maybe just about the relaxing of the brain.
So, okay, I will answer this the first. So, again, so relaxing the brain. Yeah, okay. So, speaking as a medical doctor, relaxing the brain, yeah, is something what is related to our immune system. So it's very simple. So if you want to stay healthy, you need to do only two things. First, be happy, and second, live with measurement. Yeah. First is, so be happy, you know what's making you happy, what's not. Yeah. The second is the measurement, your personally things. So stress, yeah, and relaxation, you know what you can do, what you are not. Your body will tell you. It's easy. You just need to listen. Yeah. You just need to listen to yourself. When you're tired, go to bed and go to sleep. Relax your brain. Yeah. Your brain tells you, I'm tired now. So go to sleep if you can do this. Yeah, this is something about this, and a lot of things like this is related to our immune system. So, if we power out our body here, so our immune system will go down, and bacteria, viruses, fungi have got a chance. They are always there. Viruses are always there. Yeah, that's not like an enemy what's come to your house. They are always there. It's more that you need to maintain your immune system. You need to, like you spoke, you need to relax your brain. That's all about. And then you have a very good armor against all these diseases like are there. But again, so our enemy is not medical, it's not a virus, it's not a bacteria. Our enemy are some criminal people, and we need to ask the right questions here.
Yes, I'm coming. And to add to Heiko's answer, so our enemy is indeed something outside, but also something inside. Because if we are not listening to ourselves, we are our own enemy. Just want to say that, yeah? Yes?
No, well, my question is this. I maybe had the total different idea of the day, but I think we have an unique setting here with doctors and lawyers. And I thought that we would also, at least for part, talk about the fact that now, pretty soon, the people, but also the medical people, will be put under high pressure because we will be forced to we now have measures, but maybe in the future, I hope it's never going to come, but maybe in the future we will be forced to receive injections, or people will be forced to administer injections, vaccines. So I'd like to ask, I heard about a document because I invited a lawyer and Tom for a reason, because he's in a group of nurses on Facebook. Every nurse on Facebook is in that group, and all these nurses, 80,000 nurses. And the tendency there is to say, look, the nurses are super clever because they're not under so much pressure as the doctors, and the nurses are pretty much awake. And I see very often in the more, I don't want to say lower, but in the more, like the people who are more in their heads and the people who are more in their hearts, they seem to be easier to reach and to understand. And so the nurses are saying 95%. Tom is in this group. They say, well, we are not going to take that vaccine. We, if I rather lose my job. So people who, in a professional way, are coming under stress. Can we, lawyers, doctors, we meet today, can we, this document, basically my question is this document already done? Can we give input? Can we stay very practical on because we can talk about the virus for 10 days. And
yes.
I'd like to keep...
I will answer that question for you.
Great question, yeah.
Very good question. And let me say, welcome, Tom, on behalf of 80,000 nurses. So apparently today... Oh, Frank, what have you got for us? Frank is one of the lawyers that took his free time to come here and join us. And what we have done to start here today is we have created indeed an international document that we want to add on. So, but instead of giving you the document and showing you the way we were already thinking, we thought, let's try and see if we bring all this power together, what questions arise, what comes up naturally. Because if we would have given you a document beforehand, we would have already pre-programmed the direction that we wanted to go. But we are using you, excuse me, for this cause that we want to present you with a document that already includes your original ideas that we heard here today. And this is only the first part, huh? This is where some speak and others listen, but we have a lot of opportunity later today. I saw there's only 2 more speakers coming.
No.
3, 5, 4. So we will be here until tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock, to share all this knowledge and then create that document, send it to all of you, but to try to formulate it as fully as we can, because it has to do 2 very difficult things. 1, cover everything, and 2, stay short. Because otherwise, we will make a document this thick and nobody will read it and use it. So that to create that document as a group, first we need the draft to be all from the heart, all from the original thought. So this is where we try to find the original medicine, the original cure from nature without it being guided. And that's what you are providing us with today, and then we can present you with that document, and then maybe we have something that lawyers and doctors together can propose to the world, how to deal with this thing where you say, well, I'm not sure if it's going to happen, or you know what's going to happen. You know that this is not the end. You know that our world governments are not going to say, oh, now we're done. We made a mistake.
I think this is going to take a couple of years. You know, it's going to get worse. And I think that the medical people at this moment who say, I step out because I have a consciousness, I have a heart, I'm not going to give that injection, they're going to be under great pressure. So how can we support the people who have the medical people who have the courage to step out? Because they did an oath. They said, I'm not going to harm the patient, but how can we put that in medical words?
First of all,
in juridical words?
First of all, that document, that legal document, we are going to make an international document on the front end of a page. On the back end of that page, there's going to be room for national documents that lawyers provide us with. Excuse me, but I will say this for the Dutch people, because I've been researching for the back end of the Dutch version already, and I have 5 lawyers writing, thinking in the background, and today we have all the thinking power together. So for instance, we have something that the rest of the world does not have. We have the Millecam arrest. And that is our Supreme Court stating the rules for doctors. And we can use that and to create, but that document can only work in the Dutch system and the Dutch Supreme Court for Dutch cases. But we also need that international front page, because we are in that period of history again where, and I hope all lawyers here agree with me, where the rule of law is colliding with the rule of right. The difference between the law and what is right. But the rule of law is what is being practiced in our systems. The best court we ever had to say that the law is fallible, it makes mistakes, is of course the Nuremberg trials. We have seen that sometimes what is the law is the opposite of what is right. So we need an international ethical document on the front page and then a legal usable document within the system on the back page. This document is under construction, almost ready, end of next week. But you are here to inform us.
And to inform all those 80,000 nurses, to have them bottom up, grassrooted in the hospitals, inform their doctors. So
it will be their protection document.
Yeah.
They need a protection document by the lawyers. I as a lawyer, and I have some other lawyers present here. Some work with me, some work for me.
And a judge who was working.
And a judge who was working with us.
Yeah.
Who wanted to be here today so desperately. A judge, a Dutch judge, wanted to be here today so desperately.
Yeah.
He called last night or this morning stating, I cannot come because of my job, because of my position. I support you, all of you wholeheartedly, but I cannot come. Now that's the question again with the judges. The same question again and again throughout history. And we are going to have to deal with the legal systems that are in place before we are allowed to say, when the law is unjust, then what do we do? And that might be a period when we come together, but we are not allowed to come together. So now we are above ground, but already in this hotel, someone said, the people are too close to the coffee machine. They are too close together. And you laugh. You laugh. But this is a serious matter. And that is why we already decided we have to help doctors internationally and nationally for what's coming. And especially the nurses. Because it already said in our newspapers that it is unacceptable if a nurse does not take the vaccine. That propaganda is in place in national newspapers. Hospital directors stating if a nurse does not take a vaccine, she might be unacceptable. Let me tell you how I respond to this myself. Because I have an office and I am hiring lawyers. Probably many. And how we respond to that. When people tell me you don't take a vaccine or you don't follow the rules, you are not welcome here. I always turn it around. I say, well, I'll write down your name because next time when you need help, I'm going to tell you that you said to me, you are not welcome here, but I will respond to you that you, when you get sick, you are welcome with us. Because that is the real oath. Doctors and lawyers swear, not to the law, but to something greater. They swear to help anybody in need. And we cannot repay their exclusion by excluding them. We can tell them, when they say, you're excluded, I ask them, may I please have your name? Because I will have to remind you somewhere along the line that you decided to exclude me. But when you get sick, or when you get into legal trouble, when you come to my office, all I will do is remind you and then let you in. So to all the nurses that will lose their job, they do not lose their profession. They only lose the job, not the profession.
Just an extra word to this closing that is fantastic, and it applies to attorneys, to doctors, to everything, because when I answered to the question of how does it feel to be threatened, right? And I answered to that part, I left one little detail out. And somebody may say, hey, yeah, I'm going to get fired. And I'm actually getting fired, or I got fired. You spoke the truth. If you got fired, that's a door opening to something better. The truth will set you free. And we must never forget that.
Can I add something? I just want to give you one short. You want to say something short? She wants to give a solution. So we don't need to react to it. We're going to see what happens, because I want to give Gaston now the word.
Yes.
To, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. You can stand up, please.
I'm sorry. Very quickly, we all know this emotion, how it feels like being schizophrenic. You want this, but you have to do that. I'm a GP, and half a year ago I got really kwaad. Angry. And to be honest, I cannot very well hide my emotions. So I was speaking angrily with the assistants in the practice and my colleagues. And luckily, I sold my practice and I'm working in my sold practice. So, and in a year, I will be quitting the job. I hope in good health. And so I told myself I don't have a lot to lose. Only 1 year earlier retired, so not bad. So that means I said to my boss, listen, this is a horrible situation because I have to work behind this plastic and I touch and it feels very hypocrite. And at least I told already that I need hugs every day. And so I said to my boss, I'm sorry, you have to think about it. Maybe I have to leave my job because I can't work with all these principles I have to follow, protocols I have to follow. And so, I'm sorry, I can't speak Spanish fluently. And so that was what we were talking about. And so I proposed, I can't stop if you can't handle this, that I will talk out the way I want to talk with my patients. So I said, I will follow the rules, but if they want to talk to me, I will speak from the heart. And so on my Facebook, I put already in March that I was very angry with all these regulations, measures, what we had to do. So I'm living a split life. I'm living on Facebook the way it should be, in my heart. And in my practice, I tell people, welcome to my... Vroeger heette dat postkantoor. Welcome to my postkantoor. Ik weet het niet. Achter dat plastic. So what I mean to say is then you show directly your position, the way you stand in it, and hoe moet je dat zeggen? The way what you feel, and it gives your patients the possibility to open the discussion. 9 out of 10, everybody is complaining about the regulations.
That's good. So your solution is to be open about your split. Your schizophrenia. Okay, great. Thank you. I want to... you have a question?
Yes. Excuse me. Originally, there was the rule of God. After, the rule of the absolute ruler. After, the rule of law. But right now, we are living under the rule of money.
Thank you, Dr. Bradik. Thank you.
Next speaker, maybe. Can we have... this was...
Great speech. You want to see?
Now, in Spain, there are doctors for the truth, psychologists for the truth, teachers for the truth, sanitarios, nurses for the truth, police for the liberty, and lawyers for the liberty, freedom. Thank you.